So what is the sunset review process that is used by the California Legislature? The sunset review process is used to evaluate whether a regulatory board, commission, bureau, or a profession or occupation should continue in existence. And this sunset review process is set forth in California law. In the Government Code, Title II, Division 2, Part 1, Chapter 1.5, Article 7.5 is actually titled Sunset Review, and it sets forth the regulatory scheme for this review process. So in section 9147.7 of the Government Code, it defines the term eligible agency, which, by the way, does not include an agency that is constitutionally created or an agency related to post-secondary education in the state of California. In addition, the Joint Sunset Review Committee was created to identify and eliminate waste, duplication, and any inefficiency in governmental agencies. The purpose of this joint committee of the legislature is to conduct a comprehensive analysis and on a periodic basis for every eligible agency to determine if the agency is still necessary and cost effective for the state. So as a result of the Government Code, each eligible agency scheduled for repeal must submit to the Joint Committee on or before December 1, before the year it is set to be repealed, and a complete agency report that covers the entire period since it was last reviewed has to be put together and submitted. This includes information like what you would expect, the purpose and necessity of the agency, a description of its budget, its priorities, the different employees that are a part of it, the programs and the projects that are underway under the agency's direction, different measures of success or failure of the agency, evaluation criteria, the recommendations for change or reorganization, perhaps to better fulfill its purpose and duties. In addition, the Joint Committee is required to take public testimony and evaluate the eligible agency before the date that the agency is scheduled to be repealed. And thereafter, an eligible agency is eliminated unless the legislature enacts a law to extend it, to consolidate it, or reorganize the functions of that eligible agency. The Joint Committee may recommend that the legislature extend the statutory sunset date for no more than 1 year to allow the Joint Committee more time to evaluate the eligible agency. In addition to the earlier article, there is 8.5 in the Government Code, which is titled Legislative Review of State Boards. And so there are some additional statutory provisions related to the sunset review process. For example, in section 9148.50, there are 3 separate legislative findings and declarations, including that there's more than 400 categories of administrative or regulatory boards, commissions, committees, councils, associations, and other authorities. And these entities have been established without any method of periodically reviewing their necessity or their effectiveness or their overall utility. Section 9148.51 specifies that it's the intent of the legislature that all existing and proposed eligible agencies be subject to review to evaluate and determine whether each agency has demonstrated a public need for the agency's continued existence in accordance with certain factors and standards that are set forth. And then finally, there's section 9148.52 that requires the Joint Sunset Review Committee to review all eligible agencies and for the committee, this joint committee, to make a report, which is available to the public and the legislature, of course, on whether an agency should be ended or continued, or perhaps revise or even consolidate their functions with those of another entity, as well as including other recommendations to improve the effectiveness and efficiency of that particular agency. So that is the sunset review process.